The morning started like any other Tuesday for Megan Wallace. She sat at her station in the International Deep Space Communication Array in Nevada, sipping coffee and monitoring routine signals from research satellites. Her dark hair was tied, back in a neat ponytail, and her blue uniform had the small Earth emblem that all array workers wore with quiet pride. At exactly 8:17 a.m., her screens lit up with activity. Megan nearly spilled her coffee as readings spiked across all frequencies. She quickly adjusted her headset and began running system diagnostics. "This can't be right," she whispered to herself, fingers flying over her keyboard. The signal was unlike anything in their database. It was structured, repeating, and definitely not from any Earth source. Her supervisor, Greg Mason, rushed over to her station, alerted by the system flags. "What have you got, Wallace?" "Unknown signal, sir. Extremely powerful and broadcasting across all frequencies. It's..." Megan paused as her translation software began processing the signal pattern. "It's a message." The large screens at the front of the control room flickered to life, showing static that slowly resolved into an image. What appeared made everyone in the room fall silent. The being on screen was not human. Its skin was a dark bluish gray with a hard, chitinous appearance. Multiple compound eyes reflected light like polished black stones, and when it opened its mouth, mandibles clicked together before it spoke. "People of Earth, we are the Dravari hegemony. Your planet has been selected for integration. Resistance is inadvisable. Prepare your leadership for submission protocols." The message repeated, now broadcasting not just to the array but to every television, radio, and digital device across the planet. Within minutes, the first reports of panic began flooding in from major cities. Above those cities, smaller craft deployed from a massive mothership that had somehow appeared in Earth orbit, without detection. These vessels positioned themselves strategically over population centers, hanging in the sky like silent threats. In Washington, President Frank Collins was rushed to the Presidential Emergency Operations Center beneath the White House. His face was grim as he took his seat at the head of the table, where his national security team waited. "What are we looking at?" he asked, loosening his tie. General Linda Powell stood up, using a remote to activate the wall screens. "Mr. President, the alien vessel appeared in orbit approximately 30 minutes ago. It's massive. Early estimates put it at roughly 3 miles long. Smaller craft have deployed over 23 major cities worldwide. They've made no aggressive moves beyond their positioning." The president nodded. "And their message? It's clear they expect our surrender," said National Security Advisor Paul Garcia. "We've received calls from every major world leader. Everyone's asking the same thing. What do we do?" "Get me Dr. Alan Reeves," President Collins ordered. "If anyone can make sense of this, it's him." Dr. Reeves arrived within the hour, his lanky frame and disheveled appearance contrasting sharply with the military precision around him. As the nation's leading xenobiologist, he had spent decades theorizing about extraterrestrial life. Now theory had become reality. "They're displaying classic colonization tactics," Dr. Reeves explained, analyzing the aliens' positioning on the digital map. "The Dravari have placed their ships to maximize psychological impact. They expect us to capitulate immediately." "Options?" the president asked. "We open diplomatic channels," Dr. Reeves suggested. "Learn more about them. Buy time." When the communication link was established, the same alien face appeared on the screen in the bunker. Up close, the Dravari ambassador was even more intimidating, standing nearly 7 feet tall with a body structure that suggested both incredible strength and unsettling alienness. "Humans," the ambassador stated, his voice oddly flat, despite the clicking of his mandibles. "The hegemony has studied your species. You are divided, technologically primitive, and possess minimal defensive capabilities. Your submission will spare needless destruction." President Collins stepped forward, straightening his shoulders. "We seek peaceful coexistence. Perhaps we can discuss terms that would benefit both our peoples." The Dravari made a sound that might have been laughter. "There are no discussions. There are no terms. There is only integration. You have 48 Earth hours to prepare your surrender ceremonies. After that, We will begin the process with or without your cooperation. The screen went dark. Well, that could have gone better, General Powell said. The president turned to his team. I want all military assets on high alert. Evacuate civilians from major cities to the designated shelters. And get me a secure line to the other G20 leaders. What the Dravari didn't realize, what no outside observer could know, was that humanity had been preparing for this moment since the first mysterious signals were detected from deep space decades ago. Dr. Olivia Martinez sat in her underground laboratory at the Global Defense Initiative headquarters, watching the news reports with a calm that surprised even her colleagues. At 45, she had spent over 20 years developing technology specifically designed to counter potential alien threats. Her phone rang, displaying a classified government code. Martinez, she answered. Protocol Sentinel is active, came the voice of Admiral William Carter. The President has authorized full deployment. How soon can your systems be online? Dr. Martinez glanced at the bank of specialized computers running complex simulations. The cloaking tech is ready. The Dravari won't see us coming until we want them to. Beneath the lunar surface, Captain John Winters ran his hand along the smooth hull of the EDF Defiance, humanity's first true interstellar warship. Around him, a flurry of activity as crew members prepared for launch. Captain, his first officer, Commander Samantha Hayes, approached, tablet in hand. All systems check out. The fleet reports ready status. Winters nodded, taking a moment to appreciate the magnitude of what was about to happen. 500 vessels, ranging from agile fighters to devastating dreadnoughts, waited in hidden facilities across Earth and the Moon. 20 years of secret development, international cooperation hidden from public view, all for this moment. They've given us 48 hours to surrender, Hayes said, checking the mission clock. Winters smiled slightly. That's 47 hours longer than we need. Back on Earth, civilians were being moved to underground shelters in an orderly fashion. From orbit, the Dravari observed these movements with satisfaction. Their intelligence analysis suggested humans were preparing designated areas for processing after surrender. The Dravari commander, Vex Har, transmitted his report to the Hegemony Council. The humans prepare for integration. As predicted, they recognize the futility of resistance. This world will be claimed with minimal resource expenditure. In the Oval Office, now emptied of all but essential staff, President Collins looked out the window at the alien ship hovering over Washington. To anyone watching, he appeared to be contemplating defeat. In reality, he was waiting for confirmation that the hidden fleet was ready. His secure phone buzzed. Admiral Carter's voice came through. Mr. President, Operation Thunderbolt is green. Across the board. Earth Defense Fleet awaits your command. President Collins took a deep breath, thinking of the 20 years of secret preparation, the international cooperation that had created a unified defense force while maintaining the appearance of a divided world. Execute the operation, Admiral, he said. Show them who they're really dealing with. As night fell across America, the Dravari ships glowed against the darkening sky, their lights a constant reminder of the impending deadline. Across the globe, humanity held its breath, waiting for dawn and whatever it would bring. What the aliens couldn't see were the launch preparations happening in hidden facilities around the world. Beneath the oceans, inside mountains, under desert sands, and on the dark side of the moon, humanity's warriors made ready. The Dravari had come expecting submission. They were about to learn how wrong they were. Captain John Winters stood on the bridge of the EDF Defiance watching his crew prepare for battle. The ship hummed with energy as systems came online one by one. Screens lit up across the command center, showing status reports from the hidden fleet. 500 vessels waited in position, concealed from Dravari sensors by technology that had taken humans decades to perfect. The captain ran his hand along the smooth metal of his command chair, feeling the vibration of the engines beneath his feet. Weapons check complete, Captain, reported Lieutenant Ryan Cooper from the tactical station. All offensive systems are green. Commander Samantha Hayes walked up beside Winters, her expression serious. She handed him a data tablet showing the latest intel from Earth. "They've given us 48 hours to surrender," she said. "The Dravari are just sitting up there waiting for us to wave the white flag." Winters handed the tablet back with a slight smile. "That's 47 hours longer than we need." He turned to address his bridge crew. "This is what we've trained for, people. The Dravari think they're facing a primitive, divided planet. Let's show them how wrong they are." Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, the Global Defense Initiative headquarters buzzed with activity. In the central command room, Admiral William Carter studied the holographic display showing Earth, the Moon, and the positions of both Dravari and human forces. 20 Dravari ships hovered over major cities worldwide, while their massive mothership maintained orbit over the equator. What the aliens couldn't see were the hundreds of human vessels waiting to launch. The display showed these ships in blue, clustered at 30 different hidden bases spread across the planet and moon. Carter's weathered face showed no emotion as he assessed the tactical situation, but inside he felt the weight of humanity's future on his shoulders. "Admiral," said his aide, Lieutenant Maria Diaz, "we've received confirmation from all launch sites. The fleet is ready." Carter nodded. "And the civilians?" "Evacuation to the hardened shelters is at 87% completion. We expect to reach full protection levels within 12 hours, well ahead of the Dravari deadline." The Admiral allowed himself a small smile. "Good. The Dravari think those movements are preparations for surrender. Their arrogance will be their downfall." He activated his secure communication line. "Mr. President, Operation Thunderbolt is green across the board. Earth Defense Fleet awaits your command." The Global Defense Initiative had begun as a desperate measure after the discovery of alien ruins on Mars in 2034. The ruins had contained both a warning and a gift, evidence of the Dravari hegemony's expansion through nearby star systems and technology that could help humanity defend itself. For 20 years, Earth's nations had pooled resources in secret, developing weapons and ships based on the recovered alien tech. On the surface, countries maintained their rivalries and conflicts, a carefully orchestrated show to mask the unprecedented cooperation happening behind the scenes. While civilians saw normal technological progression, military and scientific teams worked tirelessly to prepare Earth for the inevitable first contact. Dr. Olivia Martinez walked through the underground testing chamber where her team had developed the cloaking technology that now protected the human fleet. Screens around the room showed real-time data from the Dravari ships. "They still have no idea we can see through their systems," said her colleague, Dr. Eric Jones, looking up from his workstation. "Their scanning technology is advanced, but their cybersecurity is surprisingly vulnerable." "Arrogance," Martinez replied, checking the data. "They've conquered so many worlds that they've grown complacent. They never expected to find resistance." In orbit, the Dravari commander Vexhar observed Earth with compound eyes that missed nothing, or so he believed. His chitinous exoskeleton gleamed under the lights of the mothership's command center as he prepared his report to the Hegemony Council. "The humans continue their preparations for processing," he stated to the holographic images of the 6 council members. "They move their populations to centralized locations as instructed. Our analysis confirms they possess no significant space-based military assets. Integration will proceed on schedule." The eldest council member clicked his mandibles in approval. "This will be the 18th world added to the hegemony. Ensure minimal damage to the infrastructure and biological resources. This system is well positioned for our expansion into this sector." Vexhar bowed his head. As always, the hegemony grows stronger with each integration. As the Dravari confidently prepared for Earth's surrender, human pilots across the planet readied themselves for battle. In a hidden base beneath the Arizona desert, Fighter Squadron leader Laura Ryan briefed her pilots. "The Defiance will lead the primary assault on the mothership," she explained, pointing to the tactical display. "Our job is to keep the smaller Dravari vessels busy while the capital ships move into position. Remember your training. These aliens rely on numerical superiority and intimidation. They don't expect us to fight back at all, much less with advanced ships." In Washington, President Collins sat alone in the Oval Office. Most government officials had been evacuated to bunkers, but he had insisted on remaining visible. Outside the window, the Dravari ship hovered over the city, its Massive form blocking out the stars. Collins checked his watch. 36 hours remained until the deadline. His secure phone buzzed. "Mr. President," came Admiral Carter's voice. "All systems are go. The fleet awaits your order." Collins took a deep breath. "Execute Operation Thunderbolt, Admiral. Show them who they're dealing with." Carter's voice was steady. "Yes, sir." The signal went out to all 30 launch facilities simultaneously. Beneath the lunar surface, Captain Winters received the command and nodded to Commander Hayes. "All hands prepare for launch," Hayes announced over the ship's communications. "This is not a drill." Across the Defiance, crew members moved with practiced efficiency. In the engine room, Chief Engineer Peter Grant monitored the power levels as the advanced propulsion system came fully online. In the medical bay, Dr. Valerie Cook checked her supplies one final time. In the fighter bay, pilots ran pre-flight checks on their craft. On Earth, similar scenes played out in bases hidden under oceans, inside mountains, and beneath desert sands. Humanity's warriors prepared to reveal themselves. In orbit, Vexhar was reviewing the latest intelligence reports when an alarm sounded. One of his subordinates rushed to a monitoring station. "Commander, we're detecting unusual energy signatures from the lunar surface," the officer reported, confusion evident in his voice. "Impossible," Vexhar replied. "Our scans showed no lunar installations." Before the Dravari commander could investigate further, more alarms began sounding across the bridge. Energy signatures were appearing all across Earth, from the oceans, from mountain ranges, from what had appeared to be empty terrain. "What is happening?" Vexhar demanded, moving to the main view screen. The answer came as the first human ships broke the surface of the Pacific Ocean, water cascading off their hulls as they rose into the air. More appeared from hidden hangar doors and mountainsides, from beneath desert sands, and from the dark side of the moon. On the bridge of the Defiance, Captain Winters watched as his ship emerged from its lunar hiding place into the cold vacuum of space. Around him, hundreds of other vessels joined formation, from nimble fighters to massive dreadnoughts, each bearing the insignia of a unified Earth. "All ships report ready, Captain," Hayes announced, unable to keep a note of pride from her voice. Winters nodded, his eyes fixed on the distant blue planet and the alien ships that threatened it. "All ships weapons free," he ordered. "Execute Operation Thunderbolt." Across Earth's orbit, humanity's fleet moved into attack positions. The Dravari, who had come expecting submission, suddenly found themselves facing the largest armada they had ever encountered. The sky above Earth filled with human warships, their hulls gleaming in the sunlight as they advanced toward the invaders. The battle for humanity's future was about to begin. The surrender deadline arrived with tension hanging thick in the air around the world. In homes and shelters, people watched their screens as the Dravari ambassador appeared one final time. His alien features showed no emotion as he delivered his ultimatum: "Your time has expired. Begin your submission or face consequences." The broadcast cut to President Collins standing behind a simple podium. He wore a dark blue suit and his face was calm despite the gravity of the moment. Billions of humans held their breath as he cleared his throat to speak. "On behalf of humanity, I have this response." He paused, looking directly into the camera. Now, across Earth, hidden launch facilities activated in perfect synchronization. Mountainsides slid open, revealing massive hangar doors. Ocean waters churned as underwater bases released their vessels. Desert sands shifted as ships rose from concealed bunkers. On the dark side of the moon, the lunar dust settled as the main fleet emerged from its hiding place. Inside the Dravari mothership, alarms blared as sensors suddenly detected hundreds of previously invisible vessels. Commander Vexhar rushed to the command center, his exoskeleton clicking against the metal floor. "What is happening?" he demanded. "Where did these ships come from?" A junior officer frantically worked at a control panel. "Unknown, Commander. Our sensors show human vessels appearing everywhere. They were hidden somehow." "Impossible," Vexhar hissed. "Scan again." But the readings remained the same. Where moments before the Dravari had detected only primitive, satellites, and space stations. Now their screens showed an armada. Human ships of various sizes moved into formation with practiced precision. Most alarming of all, the design of these vessels incorporated technologies the Dravari had believed were far beyond human capabilities. On the bridge of the EDF Defiance, Captain Winters watched his tactical display as the Earth Defense Fleet took position. The blue dots representing human ships outnumbered the red Dravari markers by more than 3-1. "All ships report ready for combat, Captain," Commander Hayes announced. "Fighter squadrons are launching now." Winters nodded. "Weapon systems?" "Hot and tracking targets," replied Lieutenant Cooper from the tactical station. "The Dravari still haven't raised their defensive shields. They're scrambling." "They never expected a fight," Winters said. He keyed the fleet-wide communication channel. "All ships weapons free. Execute Operation Thunderbolt." Across Earth orbit, human vessels opened fire. Beams of focused energy struck the smaller Dravari ships positioned over major cities. The aliens, caught unprepared, took heavy damage before their shields could activate. Commander Hayes directed the first wave of fighters. "They thought we'd beg for mercy. Let's show them how humans actually respond to threats." The nimble human fighters darted between the larger alien vessels, their pilots executing maneuvers that the Dravari computers classified as impossibly reckless, but devastatingly effective. Each fighter carried missiles reverse-engineered from technology found in the Mars ruins, capable of penetrating Dravari shields at their weakest points. In orbit above New York, Los Angeles, London, Beijing, and other major cities, civilians who had refused evacuation watched through windows and from rooftops as the sky filled with human warships. These vessels bore the insignia of a united Earth, a blue and green planet surrounded by a protective circle of stars. The sight transformed the global mood from fear to hope, as humanity realized they were not defenseless after all. The Dravari commander frantically contacted the Hegemony Council. The holographic images of the 6 council members flickered as the communication system took damage from the ongoing battle. The humans concealed their military capabilities. Vexihar reported, struggling to maintain composure as his ship shuddered under another impact. "They possess advanced shielding, weapon systems beyond our intelligence estimates, and numbers exceeding our fleet 3-1. The eldest council member's compound eyes reflected confusion and anger. "How is this possible? Our intelligence indicated they were pre-spacefaring, divided and vulnerable." "They deceived us," another counselor hissed. "A deliberate strategy." In the Global Defense Initiative headquarters, Admiral Carter and his staff monitored the battle from a 3-dimensional tactical display. Blue markers representing human ships surrounded the red Dravari vessels, methodically cutting off their escape routes and targeting their weakest points. "The lunar batteries are in position, Admiral," reported Lieutenant Diaz. "Awaiting your command." Carter nodded. "Fire." On the lunar surface, massive ion cannons emerged from hidden bunkers. These weapons, the largest humanity had built, powered up with a deep humming that vibrated through the moon's regolith. When they fired, beams of superheated particles streaked across space toward the Dravari mothership. The alien vessel's shields flared bright purple as they struggled to absorb the impact. Though designed for intimidation rather than true combat, the mothership was still the Hegemony's most powerful military asset. It began returning fire, energy weapons targeting the lunar surface. Dr. Martinez monitored the battle from her station at GDI headquarters. "The cloaking tech is holding. They still can't detect our secondary batteries." Around her, scientists and engineers worked at monitoring stations, tracking the effectiveness of humanity's weapons against Dravari defenses. Each exchange provided valuable data, allowing them to make real-time adjustments to maximize damage. "Their shields operate on a fluctuating frequency," Dr. Jones noted, studying the incoming data. "Similar to the patterns described in the Mars archives, but more advanced." Martinez nodded. "Send the frequency patterns to the fleet. Our weapons can adjust to match the fluctuations." In the skies above major cities, the smaller Dravari vessels began to retreat from Earth's atmosphere, pursued by squadrons of human fighters. Those alien ships that tried to land troops found themselves facing another surprise. massive ground-based defense systems that tore through their landing craft with precision strikes. The few Dravari ground forces that managed to land encountered mechanized infantry divisions equipped with energy weapons and battlesuits. The aliens, used to facing primitive resistance or none at all, found themselves outmatched by soldiers who had trained specifically to counter their tactics. Captain Winters directed the Defiance toward the Dravari mothership, leading a formation of 10 heavy cruisers. "Target their propulsion systems and communications array," he ordered. "We want them disabled, not destroyed." "Captain," Hayes said, looking up from her console, "we're receiving a transmission from the mothership." Winters raised an eyebrow. "Put it through." The main view screen displayed Commander Vexhar's face. The Dravari officer's normally impassive features showed signs of stress, his mandibles clicking rapidly. "Human vessel," Vexhar began, his voice carrying a hint of desperation beneath its artificial calm. "We request cessation of hostilities. To discuss terms." Winters allowed himself a small smile. "You mean surrender?" The alien commander's compound eyes reflected the emergency lights flashing behind him. "The hegemony does not surrender. We negotiate." "Very well," Winters replied. "Power down your weapons systems and recall all fighters. Then we can discuss terms." As the human fleet surrounded the crippled Dravari forces, people emerged from shelters around the world to see the sky filled with Earth's defenders. News broadcasts showed images of the battle, revealing the truth that had been hidden for 20 years. Humanity had united in secret to prepare for this very day. President Collins addressed the nation again, his expression solemn but proud. "Today we showed the Dravari hegemony, and ourselves, what humanity is capable of when we stand together. This is not just a military victory. It's a testament to human ingenuity, cooperation, and determination. We will not beg. We will not submit. We will defend our home." As the sun set over North America, the Dravari mothership hung dark and powerless in orbit, surrounded by human warships with weapons trained on its vital systems. The battle for Earth was over. Humanity had faced its first interstellar threat, and won. The battle for Earth's orbit raged for 16 hours without pause. Human pilots worked in shifts, rotating between combat and rest periods while the Dravari fought continuously, their stamina waning as the conflict stretched on. The aliens, while technologically advanced, found themselves outmaneuvered by human tactics specifically developed to counter their strategies. Captain Winters stood on the bridge of the Defiance, reviewing damage reports from across the fleet. The main view screen showed the ongoing battle, with human ships maintaining a disciplined formation around the damaged Dravari mothership. "Status report," he requested, his voice showing little sign of the fatigue that marked his features. "Commander," Hayes looked up from her console. "Minimal casualties reported across the fleet, sir. 7 ships lost, 14 with major damage. Fighter losses at 12%, well below projected estimates." Winters nodded, allowing himself a moment of satisfaction. "And the Dravari?" "Their main fleet is crippled," Hayes replied. 17 of their 23 ships are disabled or destroyed. The mothership has lost propulsion and most weapon systems, but maintains life support and internal power. At GDI headquarters, Dr. Martinez monitored the effectiveness of Earth's defensive systems. Screens around her displayed data streams from the battle, each confirming what had seemed impossible just days ago. Humanity was winning against a species that had conquered 17 other worlds. "The cloaking tech is holding," she reported to Admiral Carter. "They still can't detect our lunar batteries." She gestured to a readout showing energy signatures from the moon-based weapons platforms. "The Dravari sensors keep trying to lock onto the source of our attacks, but the diffusion system is working perfectly." Carter nodded, his weathered face showing the strain of the extended battle. "What about their communication attempts? Any progress decoding their transmissions to their home world?" "Our systems have intercepted several burst transmissions," Martinez confirmed. "They're calling for reinforcements, but according to our calculations, the nearest Dravari fleet is at least 2 weeks away at their fastest speed." 2 weeks should be enough time," Carter said, turning to the tactical display. especially if they're as unprepared as this group was. Across Earth, civilians emerged from shelters to watch the battle unfolding in the skies above. News stations broadcast live footage of human fighters engaging alien vessels, with commentators struggling to explain the sudden appearance of Earth's previously hidden fleet. Government officials finally acknowledged the existence of the Global Defense Initiative, revealing some details of the 20-year secret program that had united former enemies in common cause. When the Dravari attempted a desperate move to deploy their remaining ground forces, they encountered the second phase of Earth's defense. Massive ground-based ion cannons hidden in mountain ranges and desert facilities opened fire on the approaching troop transports. The alien vessels, already damaged from orbital combat, could not withstand this additional assault. Those that managed to reach the surface were quickly surrounded by mechanized infantry divisions, equipped with energy weapons reverse-engineered from the Mars ruins. In Berlin, a Dravari landing party of 30 warriors found themselves facing a squad of just 10 human soldiers wearing powered armor suits. The aliens, each standing 7 feet tall with natural armor plating, expected an easy victory. Instead, they discovered that the human weapons could penetrate their exoskeletons, with precision strikes, targeting joint connections and sensory organs. The engagement lasted less than 10 minutes before the surviving Dravari retreated to their damaged transport. Similar scenes played out across the globe as humanity demonstrated that it had studied its enemy well and prepared accordingly. The Dravari, used to overwhelming primitive species with superior numbers and technology, found themselves facing an opponent who had anticipated their every move. In orbit, Captain Winters received an urgent message from Admiral Carter. The President has authorized deployment of the Sunspear. Stand by to coordinate. Winters turned to Hayes, his expression serious. Move us into position. Alert all nearby vessels to clear the target zone. The Sunspear was humanity's most closely guarded secret weapon, an orbital platform designed to disable large vessels without destroying them. As the Defiance and its escort ships cleared the area around the Dravari mothership, a seemingly ordinary satellite in low Earth orbit began to transform. Solar panels retracted, revealing a complex array of focusing lenses and power conduits. Dr. Martinez personally supervised the Sunspear activation sequence. Power at 90% and rising, she reported. Targeting systems locked on the Eye, Mothership's command center and power core. Admiral Carter gave the final authorization. Fire. The orbital weapon discharged a concentrated electromagnetic pulse, precisely calibrated to affect Dravari technology, while leaving human systems untouched. The pulse struck the mothership, cascading through its systems in a wave of blue-white energy. Throughout the massive vessel, control panels went dark, doors sealed shut, and artificial gravity flickered off and on. On the bridge of the Dravari mothership, Commander Vexihar watched in horror as his remaining systems failed one by one. Emergency lighting cast eerie shadows across the command center as his officers frantically tried to restore power. All primary and secondary systems are offline, reported his second-in-command. Life support operating on emergency power only. Weapons, propulsion, and shields are completely disabled. Vexhar's mandibles clicked in agitation. Communications? Short range only. We cannot contact the hegemony. The commander closed his compound eyes briefly, an expression of defeat unlike anything he had experienced in his long military career. Open a channel to the human vessel. Aboard the Defiance, Captain Winters received the surrender transmission. The main view screen showed Vexhar, illuminated only by emergency lighting, his normally imposing presence diminished by defeat. This is unprecedented, the alien said, mandibles clicking in agitation. No species has ever resisted integration. Humanity isn't like other species, Winters replied, standing tall on his bridge. We've been expecting visitors for generations. We just didn't know if they'd come as friends or conquerors. Vexhar's compound eyes reflected the dim lights of his failing ship. What are your terms? Unconditional surrender of all Dravari forces, Winters stated. Your crews will be treated according to human conventions of war. Your injured will receive medical attention. In return, we expect full cooperation and all information regarding the 17 worlds you've conquered. The Dravari commander seemed to consider this for a moment. And our homeworld? Do you plan retaliation against the hegemony? That will depend on your council's next actions, Winters answered honestly. We have no desire for conquest. Only, to ensure Earth's safety and to help those you've subjugated, the remaining Dravari vessels attempted to retreat to the edge of the solar system, but Earth's fleet pursued, preventing their escape. Disabled alien ships were boarded by human special forces teams, who secured the vessels and their crews with minimal casualties on both sides. For the first time in their long history of expansion, the hegemony faced not just defeat, but complete capitulation. In Washington, President Collins met with world leaders to discuss humanity's next steps. The room that had once hosted tense international negotiations now witnessed unprecedented cooperation, as former adversaries planned Earth's future as a spacefaring civilization. The Dravari threat has been contained, Collins announced to the assembled leaders, but their distress calls suggest more will come. We have weeks, perhaps months to prepare. The Chinese president nodded in agreement. The Global Defense Initiative must now become public. Our combined technologies and resources will allow us to build more ships, train more crews, and establish outposts beyond Earth, added the Russian president. Mars will be our first true colony with defenses greater than what we have here. As night fell across Europe, civilians looked up to see the sky filled with the lights of human warships moving in formation, no longer hidden, but proudly visible as the guardians of Earth. News programs interviewed GDI scientists and military officers, revealing the scope of humanity's secret preparations and the technologies developed from the Mars ruins. On the bridge of the Defiance, Captain Winters watched Earth rotating slowly below, its blue oceans and white clouds peaceful despite the battle that had raged around it. Commander Hayes joined him by the view screen, her duty shift complete but sleep still distant. What happens now? She asked quietly. Winters considered the question, his eyes on the stars beyond their home planet. Now we show the galaxy what humanity truly stands for. We defeated the Dravari not just with weapons but with unity and ingenuity. Those same qualities will guide us as we move outward. Hayes nodded, a small smile forming. They thought we'd beg, she said. Instead, we taught them something about humanity. Something the rest of the galaxy will soon learn as well, Winters replied, his gaze turning to the disabled Dravari mothership. We come in peace, but we come prepared for war. 6 months after the Battle of Earth, the EDF Defiance approached the Dravari homeworld. The massive planet loomed in the view screen, its surface a mix of deep blues and rusty reds under swirling cloud patterns. Multiple moons orbited the world, each hosting military installations that tracked the human ship with obvious caution, but made no aggressive moves. Captain John Winters stood on the bridge, dressed in the formal blue and gold uniform of Earth's newly established Space Navy. Beside him, Dr. Olivia Martinez adjusted the collar of her diplomatic attire, unused to such formal clothing after years in research labs. Nervous? Winters asked quietly. Martinez smiled slightly, terrified, but also excited. We're the first humans to visit an alien homeworld. First official humans, Winters corrected. According to the data we recovered from the mothership, the Dravari have been abducting people for study for decades. Some of those abductees might still be alive on their research stations. Finding them is item 3 on our negotiation list, Martinez confirmed, checking her data tablet. Right after establishing the peace treaty and securing the release of the conquered worlds. The communications officer, Lieutenant Ryan Cooper, looked up from his station. Captain, we're receiving landing coordinates from Dravari Control. They're directing us to the capital city spaceport. Winters nodded. Take us in, steady approach. Keep shields at minimum power. Enough for safety, but not threatening. The Defiance descended through the atmosphere, clouds parting around its sleek hull. Below, the Dravari capital spread out in concentric rings, buildings becoming taller and more elaborate toward the center. At the heart of the city stood the Hegemony Council Chambers, a towering structure of crystalline material that caught the light of the system's red sun. The human ship landed on a massive platform where a reception committee waited, a mix of Dravari officials and representatives from other species. The aliens watched with a combination of curiosity and apprehension as the boarding ramp extended from the human vessel. Captain Winters led the delegation, with Dr. Martinez and 5 other specialists following behind. They had trained for months for this moment, learning Dravari customs and protocols from the captured Commander Vexahar, who had proven surprisingly cooperative after his defeat. The Dravari High Counselor stepped forward to meet them. Taller than the others of his species, with an exoskeleton bearing elaborate markings of rank and achievement, he regarded the humans with compound eyes that revealed no emotion. "Captain Winters of Earth," he said, his translator converting the clicks and hisses of his natural speech into English. "The Hegemony Council awaits your delegation." The council chambers fell silent as the humans walked confidently into the sacred hall. The room was vast, with seating for hundreds arranged, in rising tiers around a central speaking floor. The 6 members of the Hegemony Council sat on elevated platforms at the far end, their positions symbolizing their status above all others. What caught Winter's attention, however, were the representatives seated in the lower tiers, beings of 17 different species, each watching the humans with expressions that ranged from hope to skepticism to fear. None had ever witnessed the hegemony forced to negotiate as equals. Dr. Martinez stepped onto the speaking floor, her voice calm and clear as it echoed through the chamber. "Honorable Council, representatives of the galactic community, I bring greetings from Earth. Humanity proposes an alliance, not of conquest, but of mutual defense and scientific exchange." Murmurs spread through the gathered aliens as the translator conveyed her words in multiple languages. The Dravari High Counselor leaned forward, his mandibles clicking in confusion. "You could destroy us. Your technology proved superior, your tactics more effective. The data from Commander Vexhar's ship indicates your fleet is growing rapidly. Why offer alliance?" Captain Winters joined Martinez on the speaking floor. "Because that's not who we are," he answered simply. "We build, we explore, we defend, but we don't conquer. We're offering something the hegemony has never considered, cooperation instead of submission." The representatives of the conquered world stirred at this, many looking to one another in quiet conversation. One of them, a tall being with 4 arms and silvery skin, stood from his seat. "I am Ambassador Zell of Thalassa, the first world the Dravari integrated into their hegemony. For 3 generations my people have served as laborers and soldiers. What assurance do we have that humans would be different masters?" "We don't want to be your masters," Martinez replied. "Earth proposes a new interstellar coalition where all member worlds have equal voice. We offer protection, trade, and technology sharing without requiring submission." The chamber erupted in discussion. The concept was alien to many, particularly to the Dravari themselves. Their civilization had been built on conquest for so long that cooperation seemed almost incomprehensible. Over the next week, negotiations proceeded in the Grand Chamber. Earth's delegation presented evidence of human history, both the brutal conflicts that had nearly destroyed their civilization and the cooperation that had ultimately saved it. They showed how former enemies had united in secret to build the Global Defense Initiative, setting aside centuries of distrust to face a common threat. As Earth became the center of discussion for a new interstellar coalition, the formerly subjugated species found in humanity something they'd lost generations: hope. The representatives from conquered worlds listened intently as humans described a system of mutual defense and shared prosperity. One by one, they began to voice support for independence from the hegemony and membership in Earth's proposed alliance. The Dravari Council, facing the prospect of losing their empire, initially resisted. But their military leaders, having studied the Battle of Earth in detail, advised caution. Commander Vexhar, brought to the chambers to testify, described the hidden human fleet and the weapons that had disabled his ships. "They could have destroyed us completely," he told the council, his usual confidence replaced by grudging respect. Instead, they disabled our vessels and treated our wounded. Their restraint was not weakness, it was a choice. By the end of the month, 17 worlds had declared independence from the hegemony and requested membership in the new Earth-led coalition. The Dravari, faced with the collapse of their empire, reluctantly agreed to join as well, beginning the difficult process of transforming their conquest-based society. President Collins addressed the United Nations from the rebuilt headquarters in New York with alien representatives present for the first time in human history. We revealed our strength when necessary, but our true power lies in our compassion. We will help rebuild worlds the hegemony destroyed and establish a galactic community based on respect, not fear. As Earth's fleet expanded its presence across neighboring star systems, establishing peaceful contact with other civilizations, the story of humanity's stand against the Dravari spread. Other species, some hiding from hegemony expansion and others watching from afar, began reaching out to the new coalition. Commander Samantha Hayes, now captain of her own vessel, the EDF Horizon, delivered supplies to a former hegemony colony. On the outer rim, the planet's surface still bore scars from Dravari resource extraction, but the people greeted the human ship with celebration rather than fear. They thought humanity would beg, she told her crew as they watched grateful aliens receive medical supplies and technology. Instead, we taught them something far more powerful than conquest. We taught them humanity. 3 years after the Battle of Earth, a mixed fleet of human and alien vessels gathered in orbit around Mars. The Red Planet, once home only to ruins and research stations, now hosted Earth's first major colony and the headquarters of the Interstellar Coalition. Ships of various designs formed an honor guard as the EDF Defiance prepared to depart on its most ambitious mission yet, leading an exploration fleet beyond the borders of known space. Captain Winters stood on his bridge, watching, as officers from a dozen different species worked together at their stations. His ship had been refitted, enhanced with technologies shared by coalition members, making it the perfect vessel to carry a message of peace and cooperation to the stars. "All ships report ready, Captain," said his new first officer, a former Dravari military officer who had chosen to serve with humans. Winters nodded, feeling the weight of history as he gave the order. "Take us out." The Defiance led the fleet away from Mars, engines glowing bright against the darkness of space. Behind them, Earth and its allies prepared for whatever challenges the universe might bring. Ahead lay the unknown, with all its dangers and wonders. But this time, humanity would face it not alone, but as leaders of a growing family of worlds, united in the belief that cooperation would carry them farther than conquest ever could.